Welcome everyone to World at War class. Hopefully you're watching this from a nice comfy place and enjoying yourself. I can't wait to have you experience the class that you're about to take over the next semester. It's one of my favorite classes to teach, and hopefully you'll get a lot out of it as well. So I guess I want to begin to explain a little bit about how this whole process is going to work. So on these days when you're on the computer, I will try to give you this little video introduction. Today's will be the longest, but hopefully the other ones will just help explain what you're supposed to do over the course of the day on your computer, and you won't need any other assistance. However, if you ever need anything, feel free to email or talk to me or the teacher who's up front or whatever. But hopefully the instructions will be so clear that you'll just be able to follow right along. So I'll give you a little intro here via video almost every day that you'll be on the computer, and then you'll be on your own to do the rest of the assignments and assessments that we designed for you. I want to tell you a little bit about this class though, and a little bit about history and how we teach this class a little bit differently than most. About 10 years ago, I was trying to figure out why I teach history. Most other professions or most other classes, there's a reason why you're taking that class. You're learning a skill. You're learning math to be an engineer, or accounting to go into business, or science to be an engineer or a scientist. But what about history? There's really only one profession that you would study history for, and that would be to be a teacher. So I was kind of frustrated. I didn't know what I was doing or why I was doing what I was doing. So I began to really think about the question, why do you study history? And I think I came up with a good reason why, and because I believe what I'm about to tell you, that's what kind of forced me to design the class that you're about to take the way I did. I used to play roller hockey, and there was one year I got hit pretty hard against the boards, and I just crumpled down on the ground, holding my back. So I hurt my back after a clean check. It was a clean check, but I was hurt. And so I went to one doctor, and that doctor told me, why don't you go see a specialist? So I went and saw a back specialist, and the specialist said, I probably should operate on you. You have a bulging disc or something in my back. And I knew that I probably didn't want someone cutting into my back. So I went to a physical therapist, and he did some tests. I don't know if you've ever been to a physical therapist's office, but it's usually just a big room, and there's everyone in the room doing different exercises that the physical therapist has told them to do. And so you're out in the middle of other people, as was I that day, and he asked me to do these little exercises and stretches to kind of figure out what the problem was. In fact, there was one time where he told me to lay down on the floor and put my leg up against the door jamb to see how flexible my hamstring was. And so I did it. I'm laying there on the ground with my leg up against the door, and he's like, I'll be right back. And he goes off, and he brings a nurse back, and he's like, look at how inflexible this person is, to the nurse. And he was like, I've never seen someone as inflexible as you are, which again, I'm out in the middle of everyone. Everyone kind of looked over to see this freak of nature with his leg pinned up against the door jamb, which I gotta tell you, I didn't really enjoy that. But anyways, the physical therapist, he told me that my problem was with my core muscles, that every time I walked or skated or did anything like that, I had to tell my core muscles what to do to keep me upright, to keep me balanced or whatever. And then that's the reason why when I'm playing hockey, if I didn't tell my core muscles to do something right, and I got checked, for example, I didn't see it coming, then something would go wrong. So he told me what I needed to do was to train my core muscles to act automatically, to keep me upright, to keep me strong. And that way I'd never get hurt again. So that sounded great to me. I asked him how I was supposed to do this, and he told me, well, hang on a second. So he goes off to a different room and he comes back and he has this green exercise balls. I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about, but these are, you know, these big balls that you roll around with on the floor. And so he told me to do these exercises, and I don't know if you've ever seen anyone do these exercises, but it is pretty humiliating. And again, especially out in the open, you know, you got to roll your head up and then your back and then do sit-ups, or I don't know what I was doing. And the worst one, I got to tell you, he told me to kneel on the ball. So I'm not sure if you know what a ball is, but you can't kneel on something that's round or you're going to fall off, which I did many, many times. But I took his advice and I went home and I did all this work and I knelt on the ball and I finally got it after a while, and I trained my core muscles and they acted automatically, and I never hurt my back playing hockey ever since. So there you go. This is what I call the green ball theory, is this idea that you can train yourself to act automatically. In that case, it was my muscles, but I began to think, you know, about the thousands of decisions you make every single day. You know, what time to get up, to actually roll out of bed, how to comb your hair, what to have for breakfast. Are you going to run that yellow light on the way to school, or are you going to stop at the red light? Are you going to talk during, you're going to sleep? You better not be sleeping. All these decisions that you make every single day, thousands of them. And most of the time we have to think about it. We have to be like, oh, what's the right thing to do at this moment? And I thought to myself, how cool would it be? How powerful would it be if you could automatically train yourself to do the right thing each and every time you were faced with a decision to make? And so that's what brings me to why I think history is so important. What other area of study can you look at how people reacted to stress, or in this case, in this class, to war, to life and death situations, and see how they reacted, and maybe, hopefully, learn a little bit something with how they reacted, both wrongly and rightly, and learn from that yourself, so that maybe perhaps when you're in that same situation, not exactly maybe in a war, but if you're in a situation where you can do the right thing or the wrong thing, something pops into your head, some memory pops into your head from this class that will help you make the right decision, hopefully not even help you, but automatically make it for you. This is called the green ball theory of training yourself to act, training yourself to do the right thing automatically. And this is what this class is supposed to help you do. So the first thing, though, that you have to do is learn how to think. Look, facts are important, and you're going to use a lot of facts in this class to prove how you think is the right way to think. So I really need you to start to think today, right now. Start to think deeply and look at yourself and look at the world that we live in, and use the facts of history that we're going to study in this class to help you understand the world of today. And so to help you do that, I have a couple things for you to do. First of all, I have a reading. It's a short little reading. It's only a couple pages. It's called Thinking as a Hobby, and it's written by William Golding. I'm not sure if that name sounds familiar. He's the guy that wrote Lord of the Flies. But this is just a little story about when he was a kid and how he learned to think and the different levels of thinking. So what I want you to do is read that article, which is down below. And there's a couple questions that I want you to answer. Now, again, answer them thoroughly and think about them. Don't just write down, excuse me, don't just write down a sentence or two. Think about what your answers should be and think about the questions, because let me tell you, they're pretty good questions. Think about the questions and think about the answers and spill it out. I mean, just spill what's going on in your head down in the little boxes that are provided for you. And then I want you to think about school and this class and maybe how we can help you think better. One of the best ways for you to think is to ask questions. I love questions. You should love questions. And what's nice about questions is that hopefully you try to seek out the answers. And so we're going to try to train you to ask some good questions. You're going to be asking me a lot of questions over the course of this semester, especially for this month that I won't be with you. Right now, I'm not really sure where I am, but I want you to ask me some great questions. And I don't want questions like, is it warm there, or things like that. Think about some deep and meaningful questions. And the exercise that I have for you to do today is about inquiry, about how to ask some good questions. And so down below, there's just a link to a process that I want you to follow. Just kind of go through each one of those steps that are listed in the document. And then I want you to come up with a few questions for me about what I'm doing, about my excursion, my journey that I'm currently on, which is why I'm not with you in person. So come up with those questions. And then lastly, I have a video for you about, it's a spoken word video off YouTube, and the guy that does it is brilliant. I think he's British. And he talks about how you can hate school but love learning and love education. And so I just want you to watch that and reflect a little bit on that as well. So that's what you should be doing today. If you have any questions about the class or about how things are working, there are the attached documents of my syllabus and responsibilities and things like that. Feel free to click on those and review those if you want, but they'll always be here for you on this day. But once again, let's start thinking. Let's start training ourselves to think thoroughly. And good luck on what you're doing today. I can't wait to talk to you again. But good luck, and I look forward to your questions. Thanks.